Make sure my audio is good right here. Techno Wolf, you got it. We're going to do the flag. We're going to do the flag with Resonance. What's going on, family? Loved your live earlier this morning. Beautiful countryside, by the way. Very beautiful countryside. If you guys aren't following your Resonance, definitely do so. Today he was going on a bike ride, took us with him. It was fun. Almost saw a couple sheep getting it on. Saw some really healthy cows. Like I said, beautiful, beautiful countryside. Beautiful countryside. All right, boom. We got that going. Let's head on over here to the U of Tubes. Right. And was doing some trading. Might end up doing some more trading later on, but I'm pretty happy with where we're at right now. Oh, that audio on YouTube is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So if anybody's over on YouTube, let me know. Just want to make sure that audio is great, right where it needs to be. And we'll keep this going here for a moment. Of course, Resonance. Of course. XRP went to 50K this morning because of... Oh, man. Man. David, have no fear, man. We're going to put all the XRP folks right where they belong because we got some information today. If you were a fan of Brics, it's looking a little dicey. It's looking a little dicey. You can join us on YouTube. We've got that going. Probably going to cut the stream here on TikTok in about 3 minutes. So if you want to join us, go over to YouTube, say what's up in the chat, let me know that you're there, and we'll go ahead and get this thing started. And where is that, Brian? We're just gonna put them in timeout, right? Because we have to get the crypto space to a point where like things are objective. Because it's not objective at the moment, and it's gonna get people absolutely obliterated, and we don't want that. Spike Dodgeball, how's it going? Hope you're doing okay. Yep, Techno Wolf, same name, spelled the same. Crypto Glenn. Crypto Glenn. So some of you guys are kind of already watching that right now. Right now. CRYPTOGLENN. I tell you what, if you're waiting for the announcement, that you thought there was going to be a currency announcement that was going to be made coming out of Brics. Hate to burst your bubble. Hate to burst your bubble. All right. JW, what's going on? Roosevelt, what's going on? I want to invite you all to join me over on YouTube. Got to make sure that we stay in TT's good graces, and we're going to be talking about controversial, but some things that we just don't want the powers that be to get a little upset. Ash Jam, what's going on? That's right, we back live. Woo! Today was just one of three. Correct. Yes, today was just one of three. One of three. Is Brics Pay fake? Ooh, Dre. Let me look into that for you. I can tell you right now that I personally have not heard anything about that. And before I say yes or no, let me definitely dig deep into it. I would say, if it's something that interests you, maybe put a little bit of a pause on that and vet it before, anybody goes diving into it. What's up, Friday? The YouTube is Crypto Glenn. It's the same handle as it is here on the Tiki Taki. My handles are the same across all social media, Crypto Glenn. Spike Dodgeball is in the chat. Brian is in the chat. Marvin Johnson is in the chat. Jamiri is in the chat. Crypto Glenn is in the chat. Looking forward to learning more. We're going to cover a lot. And then, again, we're probably going to do about a handful of minutes on this. If there's any other thing that you all want to look at, coins, projects specifically. I know someone asked me to do a breakdown on Sui. Still working on that static video. About 3/4 of the way done with the information I'll kind of want to share with you all on that. But if there's anything else, just let me know. We'll definitely cover it. So this live stream will probably be going for about an hour. Till about 6:30, then I'll jump off, probably come back later, 9:30 p.m., 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Come on, man. Got to represent for the HBCUs. Crypto Logic, let's go. What's going on, Woke Crypto Adopter? Got to represent for TSU. Got to. Is there any new news from the Brics Summit? There's I don't want to say a lot, but there's some pretty significant news, I'd say. So we're going to be talking about that here on YouTube, handle at Crypto Glenn. Finally, Crypto Glenn has come back to TikTok. JW for sure. If you can't join us on the YouTube for this one, we'll definitely be back here a little bit later tonight. Did she really go there for dental hygiene? Nice, man. Nice. I love that. How long did she get the program done? And did she do the year? Or did she do the 2 year, the 4 year? How long was the program? For sure, man. For sure. See you later on, JW. Absolutely. Wrestling fan? Come on. A wrestling fan? Come on. Of course. That Attitude Era was untouchable. 2 years tough program, but then she loved it. Yeah. Yep. I've got a friend's wife who did a dentistry program. Where did she do that? I can't remember where she went off the top of my head, but it was brutal. It was brutal. But she's done now. She's excited to get underway with her career, with goals of opening a practice here sometime soon. All right. 5:27. Let's go ahead and get this party started. If you're here on TikTok, I must like the LA Knights. Why do you say that? We'll go ahead and get this party started. Folks, feel free to join us over on YouTube. Handle is at Crypto Glenn, same as it is here. We're going to go for about an hour. Jump off, come back on 9:30, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Recap and touch on some of the things that you all want to touch on, as well as new information that's coming out with this Brics stuff. If you're not joining us on YouTube, we'll see you here later tonight. Appreciate you all for joining. It's going to be a short stream here on TikTok. YouTube, it's time, baby. Let's do it. It's a character throwback to the 90s. I've actually never heard of LA Knight. World class, I'm doing fantastic. World class Brian, feel free to join us over on YouTube, handle at Crypto Glenn. We're going to talk about some things here regarding XRP and also what's been going on with the Brics Summit today as day one has wrapped up. Join us over there. TikTok, appreciate y'all. See y'all later tonight. YouTube, let's get it going. All right, so being reported directly from Reuters, the information coming out of Reuters today is, well, if you thought the Brics was going to be an absolute shoo-in because your favorite cryptocurrency content creator who wants to see the downfall of America told you so, well, today you'd be in for a rude awakening. August 22nd, 2023, the news coming out of Brics is the leaders met today to plot the future course of the bloc of developing nations, but divisions within the group are reemerging ahead of critical debate over a potential expansion. Let's talk about this. The thing that no one really ever talks about whenever we talk about Brics is the ability to manage as many personalities as you have to. Those of you that have, hey, what's going on, Ash? I see you in the chat. Good to have you here. Those of you that have like a very large, diverse friend group, you know when it comes time to make plans, maybe you all are getting ready to go on vacation with another. Maybe you all are getting ready to go to a restaurant or a party or whatever the case is. One person wants to leave at this time. One person wants to go to this destination. One person doesn't have enough money to go. It's always a giant kerfuffle. And so why would it be any different whenever you're trying to get nation states on board with trying to potentially overthrow the mighty, mighty United States empire? The answer to that question, well, it's not any different. Because what we're seeing here is the turmoil that the BRICS community is having now is whether to let on additional nation states or not. Highlighted tensions in the wake of the Ukraine war and Beijing's growing rivalry with the United States have pushed China and Russia, whose President Putin will attend the meeting virtually, to seek to strengthen BRICS. Putin was supposed to be there in person today, but there were concerns about if he showed up to the summit, would he be taken into custody, even after African nations said that they would not actually turn him into custody. As you all know, the conference is the 22nd to the 24th in Johannesburg. Forged the grouping, which also includes South Africa, Brazil, India, into a counterweight Western dominance global institutions. Let me start by saying this. If it was as easy as people and countries being upset with the way the United States handle things and just having an unparalleled amount of frustration to get themselves off of the dollar, countries would have done so decades ago. How's it going, Bruce? Happy to see you here. Desiree, happy to see you here. World Class, happy to see you here. Mr. Cruz, happy to see you here as well. Junie, happy to see you here as well. I got a lot of people in here. Nice. And so the problem is the dollar is a Gogarian knot that is literally intertwined in everything. And this is what the Zach Rectors, the Echoes, the Crypto Maxis don't tell you about this current situation is even if the United States said, rest of the world, you guys are right. We have been throwing our weight around for far too long. We're being a bully and we don't need to do that. We're going to help you get off the dollar. Even if they said that, right? You would still not be able to get off the dollar in 5 minutes, a year, 2 years. But it's funny that no one really ever mentions that. Ever. Let's continue on. China's president via telecast said the course of history will shape by the choices we make. He skipped the event despite presence that there will be counterparts. I'm not even going to pretend to butcher this gentleman's name here. This is the PM of South Africa, the Brazilian president, Luis Inacio, Salva, India's prime minister, Modi. Some of these names are very hard to pronounce. Please bear with me. His remarks were delivered by Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wantao, or Wantao, butchering all kinds of names today, guys. Again, my apologies. And it's not immediately clear why Xi had a meeting with the host earlier in the day. Well, it's probably got something to do with the fact that Evergrande just went belly up in China, and now they've got a huge mess that they have to contend with. Okay? So this idea that BRICS was somehow going to come out this summit and announce all these new plans, which is something that they do every year, by the way. They oftentimes just make announcements to, hey, we've got a plan to do this. Hey, we've got a plan to do that. And nothing really ever comes of that. But with all of these major developments going on, I'm shocked that people thought that there was going to be this giant news announcement that, hey, we're going to come out with our own currency that's going to basically usurp the U.S. dollar. Comments from Brazilians, Luis pointed to a divergence of wisdom within the bloc, which political analysts say have long struggled to form a cohesive or a coherent view of its role in the global order. Again, going back to this managing of personalities. Russia wants to be the top dog. China wants to be the top dog. But Brazil, because they were one of the earliest to join, they want to be the top dog. These are all the little things that are going to have to be dealt with in terms of trying to figure out what's the role of all these countries going to be. And it's not going to be something that's going to be figured out overnight. We've got additional news reports coming in from CNN that say actual currency being developed by the BRICS nation is not a likely idea. Furthermore, Brazil's president goes on to say that we don't want to be a counterpart to the G7 or G20. Now, keep in mind, G7 and G20, the G7 is basically the largest economies, the 7 largest economies on the planet. The G20 is the largest 20 economies on the planet. What Brics is trying to do, they would essentially be like the G30, G25, maybe G35, if I can say that, with some of the smaller nations trying to come on board, maybe like a G35, G40, right? Think of it as if, if you got the NBA being the professionals, these guys would be not even like minor league. Some of them are college level, junior college, and some of them as low as Pop Warner. That's like Pee Wee. Beyond an enlargement question bolstering the use of member states' local currencies in trade and financial transactions to lessen dependency on the U.S. dollar is also on the summit agenda. I don't see how you get this figured out when you already have so much in-group turmoil fighting amongst yourselves. The objective, irreversible process, the de-dollarization of our economic ties is gaining momentum, Russian President Putin said in a pre-recorded statement, because again, remember, he wasn't there. Russia's economy is grappling with Western sanctions over Moscow's war in Ukraine. It's been going on for the last 2.5 years. Putin wanted under an international asset warrant for his alleged war crimes in Ukraine is being represented at the summit by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. South African organizers say that there will be no discussion, however, on a common Brics currency, an idea floated by Brazil as an alternative to a dollar dependence. Let me read that again. South Africa organizations or organizers say that there will be no discussion of a Brics currency. So if the people who are directly throwing this event are telling you we are not talking about a Brics currency at this summit, why are content creators on TikTok telling you, hey guys, they're going to launch their own currency at the Brics Summit. They're going to announce it. Where do they get this false information from? At a certain point, people who consume information, you got to say enough is enough. This is literally the same thing I was talking about 2 days ago or a day ago in my last video. I said, I do not suspect this is going to be mentioned. There will be no announcement of a currency. These people who would perpetuate this false narrative are a detriment to the cryptocurrency space. They're a detriment to the investing space, and they're a detriment to their audience because they see nothing wrong with perpetuating false narratives for attention and for clout gathering. I can't stand it. And personally, I find it bothersome because I know that for everyone that's here in this crypto space, it's got the opportunity to do a lot of good for a lot of people. Let's talk about this point of contention. Brics remains a desperate group ranging from China's, the world's second biggest economy, to South Africa, a relative mid-row, which is nothingless, Africa's most developed economy. So essentially, South Africa is the biggest horse in the stable on the continent of Africa. Russia is keen to show the West that it still has friends, but India has increasingly reached out to the West, as has Brazil under its new leader. But you have all these countries, let some people tell it, that they want to get away from the United States, yet Russia and Brazil still continue to reach out to the U.S. Let's call this what it is. It's bullshit. These content creators on social media who have no reverence for telling the truth and only say things to try to scare the bejesus out of people, all the while selling you a false solution of, hey, we know what we can do to help you. For instance, Zach Rector his thing, hey, buy gold, buy silver. If you would have taken his advice of buying gold and buying silver on the precipice of this conference coming up, essentially your investment will be worth less today than it would have been at the time he made those announcements to buy gold and buy silver. Because they're not telling you the whole entire story. If you look at that chart, gold producers, silver producers, they have actually been selling into this summit. Because they know, hey, if there's all these whispers of these currencies that are going to be backed by gold and silver, which are completely, utterly false, if these come out and people are buying gold and silver, it's going to be a really good opportunity for us to make some money simply by going short on it. Now let's shelf the idea of them going short on it for just a second. Every time they pull more gold and every time they pull more silver out of the ground, you're running an inflation on gold and silver at about 2% a year. So then they take that gold, they take that silver, they put it on the market. They want to flood the market with it. I'm not going to say it's worthless, but it's just not worth what they want you to believe it is. Because if it was, they would be hoarding it. They would be restricting the supply. They wouldn't be trying to get rid of what they're pulling out of the ground. Okay? This is a very diverse collection of countries with differences on critical issues. Expansion has long been the goal of China, which hopes to that the excuse me, that the broader membership will lend clout to a growing already home to some 40% of the world's population and quarter global across domestic product. Russia is also keen to expand membership, while South Africa's president voiced support for the idea of meeting with the president of China. Brics leaders will hold a mini retreat and dinner Tuesday evening today, where they will likely discuss a framework and criteria for admitting new countries. So now that we know, okay, well, they have an idea of what they might want to discuss in terms of developing this framework, the question you got to ask yourself is, what is this framework going to be made up of? Because you know there's likely going to be parameters that if you don't meet them, you're just not going to gain entry. So at the end of the day, for the countries that can't get into it, what good or what's the difference between Brics and the United States? Either way, you're still going to be getting pushed around. So it's a question of the devil that you do know versus the devil that you don't know. India, which is very wary of Chinese dominance, but y'all are supposed to be boys. India and China, y'all in the same boy band together. You guys are supposed to be friends. India, which is very wary of China dominance, has warned against Russian expansion, has positive intent and an open mind, Foreign Secretary of India said on Monday. Brazil, meanwhile, is concerned that expanding the Brics will dilute its influence through, Lula reiterated on Tuesday. He's not wrong. Again, the more people, the more countries that you have in this thing, the lesser the allure is. There's a reason why every country in the world can't get into the G7. There's a reason why every country in the world can't get into the G20. So if you say we just want to create a club for those that have been bullied by the United States simply because this is the one thing that we have in common, it's likely not going to end the way that you think it's going to end. Argentine government source involved with the country's negotiations to join Brics told Reuters that no new members have been expected to be admitted to the bloc during the summit. While potential Brics enlargement remains up in the air, the grouping pledged to become a champion of developing the world and offer an alternative to the world order dominated by wealthy Western nations is already finding resonance. Of course, I mean, you got a group of people who are tired of being bullied by the U.S. dollar, but it's not really that. Here's what it is. When the United States raises the interest rates, their money gets stronger. When that happens, countries that have to buy the dollar, it costs them more in their native currency. When that happens, it makes it harder for them to pay the bills that they have, but it also, again, makes it more difficult for them to actually obtain dollars. So everybody wants the cheap dollar, but again, no one has any reverence for what that cheap dollar would mean for the United States and the people that live here. Sorry, guys, my landscaping company's here. Sorry about that. Over 40 countries have expressed interest in joining Brics, say South African officials. Of them, nearly 24 have formally asked to be admitted, with some expected to send delegations to Johannesburg. So this is really nothing more than what we've already seen. Again, Brics isn't anything new. The country or the group was started at the absolute lowest point in the 2008-2009 Great Financial Recession. They basically formed the group at the bottom, right before things came back. They get together every single year. They make large proclamations and lofty claims, but nothing really ever comes to pass. And why is that problematic? It's problematic because I think there's a fair amount of people who are on YouTube who really feel that Brics is something that's new, and it's really not. The new Brics currency is likely or is unlikely in near future, the analyst at CNN says. Let's see if we can find this article. I guess that's it. Political science professor Oliver Strunkel tells Paula Newton, while there are several obstacles to a Brics nation joint currency, this can't be the whole entire article, is it? I guess that's a hard article. I mean, they're not really telling anything we didn't really know. All right, yeah, so I guess that's the news. New Brics currency is unlikely in near future, analyst says. Okay. Who's the author of this story out? Because again, I like to cite my sources. Wow, these names are very difficult to pronounce. We'll just go with Gabriel down here. This one's based in Brazil. Bargav is based in Johannesburg. Just gonna pull these people up on Twitter. Just try to stay current with any new developments that they may potentially have as this conference goes on. All right. Let me do this here for a second. Gonna turn out the lights on you guys here for just a brief moment. Actually was wanting to time this live a little bit better because my long guys normally show up in the morning, but today I guess they decided to come in the afternoon. Maybe they decided to switch things up. Just currently searching for some news here. Make sure there's anything we haven't already touched on that we do so. I want to show you guys this one here. This is a article coming out of the Financial Times. Brics, the mighty dollar, is secure, quote unquote, for now. If you want to take a look at this is on financialtimes.com, ft.com. Just type in Brics, the almighty dollar, secure for now, and it should pull it up for you. And just to kind of highlight some of what we've already talked about, the French finance minister sniped at the exorbitant privilege that, the United States has for nearly six decades. But again, when you're the most robust economy on the planet, the economy that isn't as frail as other G7 or other G20 nations, you get to be the world reserve currency that holds the #1 spot. Okay. The reason why we hold the #1 spot is because we have the most robust economy. It's the most battle tested economy, if I can say that. And during periods where other smaller economies start to have these intermediate cycles, you don't really see that from the United States. So stability is the name of the game. The article just goes on to say that discontent is understandable. Sanctions on Russia highlighted the risk of holding foreign reserve and dollar dominant assets. Currency fluctuations, notably the dollar, the recent rise to a 20-year high, can be a real damage. This just kind of highlights what we talked about a moment ago. The stronger the dollar gets, the more painful it gets for other countries. But you as an American, you got to say, do you want your currency to be strong, or do you want a weak dollar just because, or so it's better for everybody else on the world stage? A 10% rise in the dollar cuts emerging economies' output by 1.9% after year, says the IMF. Principal reserve currencies have suffered before. For example, the British pound's decline after the First World War. A shift away from the dollar could weaken the currency, raise U.S. interest rates, and reduce the demand for United States treasuries. Some 7.4 trillion or 31% of treasuries were owned by foreign investors at the end of last year. This is interesting because I read a report that said the majority of debt that we have now is actually owned by the people. So I'll try to see if I can pull that up for tonight's live. The market issuance about the United States debt burden would quickly turn. Yet overthrow the dollar is unlikely. It owns the dominance network effect, the depth of the United States capital markets, and the rule of law. It has a hefty 58% share of the global official foreign reserves, despite the drop in 13 percentage points since 2000. Its dominance, international banking, and global trade. Russia has pivoted from the renminbi, which accounts for 16% of its total net exports payments. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, again, sorry about that. They normally come in the morning, but I know that microphone is probably picking that up. Where are we at? Other Brics currencies or countries, particularly India, are wary of the Beijing potential dominance that currency controls make them nervous. Their mooted development of a common currency is a non-starter. Nevertheless, the United States should be competent or should not be complacent about the greenbacks primacy sanctions that weaponize the dollar. Should be used sparingly. I agree. We should not be trying to back other countries into a corner and weaponize the dollar, but it's not like we're doing it just because, right? Like Iran, there was a report that came out and this was being promoted by a lot of community members in specific currencies, cryptocurrencies. They said Iran was moving away from the dollar, and that was giving them pause for concern, when the truth is actually Iran or Iraq was cut off from using U.S. dollars by the United States because they were caught trying to siphon U.S. dollars to Iran. Iran is not a political ally of the United States. So that's why Iraq started selling oil, or tried to sell oil away from the U.S. dollar, or tried to sell it in something other than the U.S. dollar. But certain people saw that headline, they tried to take it and turn it into something that it wasn't. So I agree. Should we be complacent about our current status in the world? No, we should always be looking to strengthen our positions while at the same time helping our allies. But at the end of the day, our allies got to be willing to play ball. And if they're not, there's nothing we can do about that. The dollar's dominance carries responsibilities as well as a privilege. I agree it does. All right. So that's the latest coming out of Brics. Again, it troubles me to see so many content creators just kind of running around perpetuating false narratives and misinformation, because it does a fantastic job of scaring people, and I'm just not one that's for that. All right. TikTok influencers can be really toxic. They know better than conspiracy theorists. Frankie, I agree with you. And it's problematic because everybody here, everybody on TikTok, on Twitter, everyone is looking for that edge in terms of what information do I need in order to make sound investments. And if you're not utilizing the right information, that's going to pan out in your investments. So what we try to do here is just bring people factual information, things that can be easily researched from credible sources, not resources where you got to go off into the weeds and bobsbasementblog.com. We actually want to use resources that are easy to find and be used by everyone. Okay. Something else that we want to talk about here, just because, again, we're seeing it, and in the name of keeping all things on the level, is this right here. I have not seen this really at all. This is essentially the motion for the interlocutory appeal that was filed by the SEC. And I wanted to look at this because I saw a lot of misinformation that was being promoted on social media about the SEC technically not going after the judge's ruling to classify XRP as a security. And if you take a look at here, they kind of do a fantastic job of just breaking it down. You've got the background, the court's summary judgment decision, and the argument that the SEC poses. And I started going over this a little bit late last night. We're going to have more to talk about this, on tonight's live. The court's ruling offers and sales on trading platforms and those for services involved in controlling questions of law. So essentially what the SEC is going for is saying, well, if you say it's not a security, if we're looking at the events that took place on exchanges, i.e. trading platforms, there is substantial grounds for difference of opinion over the sales of crypto assets on trading platforms that can give rise to an investment contracts under the Howey's law. Now, I'd question to say, how exactly do they plan to formulate this argument? And I'm going to try to frame this in a way that most of us are familiar with. I wonder if they could be saying that, people were buying XRP from exchanges based on information that they heard via the news and all these grandiose and lofty statements that people said XRP could do. A smarter individual will be able to make that argument. I question if they're able to make that correlation between the events that took place on exchanges and connections to investment contracts. Could they then go back and question the state of XRP being a security? Because then you would have proven that prong, the Howey test, being that people had bought this with the expectation of profit in the future. So this is going to be something that we have to take a look at. And I'm going to be paying very, very close attention to see how the SEC crafts their argument around this. But again, I haven't really seen this. I've just seen people saying, well, it's all out. You can't question XRP being a security. You can't go back on. I'm like, well, if it's an appeal, you can pretty much go back on anything that you want to go back on. Right? You can pretty much go back on anything that you want to go back on. Let's see. That was page 19, I want to say, for the conclusion. Let's try to see if we can take a little bit of snippet of that right now. Let me know if that's big enough for you guys to see on your screens. If not, then maybe I'll have to try to resize it. $19, here we go. Purchase ability to resell ATB coins on other exchanges also supports the conclusion that these coins are securities. Okay, well, there it is right there, right? So apparently this case that took place in 2019 where ATB coin was listed as a security and they actually had the connection between buying and selling on the exchanges. The purchaser's ability to resell ATB coin on other exchanges also supports the conclusion that the coins are securities. If they're able to tie this in, my God. One, yeah, that might not be great for XRP, but then two, every other cryptocurrency that might fall under this same purview, not just with this here, but with all that we've seen before, because Judge Torres, has already said programmatic sales of XRP, it definitely violated securities law. So if they're able to tie all these together, what would that mean for something like ADA? What would that mean for something like Algorand? What would that mean for something, like Ethereum, so on and so forth? This is something that I didn't see when I was actually going over this, but it looks like they're calling reference to a former case again that happened in 2019. Purchasers' ability to resell ATB coin on other exchanges also supports the conclusion that coins are securities. VChem 2022, Southern District, New York, September 28, 2022. Courts in this district have applied the Howey test to determine cryptocurrency tokens intend to be sold on a blockchain or in the general market where securities within the meaning of the Securities Act. If you're holding XRP, or if you know someone who's holding XRP, I'll post this on Twitter, and if you guys want this document, let me know. I can email it to you. But this is something that people are not paying attention to. We take that one snippet that came out of the conclusion and we want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And it's like, if they're able to cite other cases and use them as discovery in this case, or use them as reference and tie it to the discovery that already took place in this case, this could uproot a lot of different cryptocurrencies. And I'm not saying that to scare people. I'm just simply saying, like, hey, we're looking at this here in black and white. You've got 2 cases here in the same district. I wonder if this had the same judge or if it was a different judge. I'll have to look that one up. But if you've had 2 other judges who have already ruled to say, yeah, these things definitely meet security standards, this could be very, very bad for people who are holding Ripple, for people who are holding XRP, excuse me. And I question what that means for the rest of us who are holding alts, assuming that, they had ICOs. I think if you had an ICO for your cryptocurrency, I think that writing's kind of on the wall. The above cases show how reasonable jurists could reach conclusions contrary to the order's ruling that investors' reasonable expectations may turn the issuer's choice of how it offers and sells the existence of intermediaries between the issuer and investor. In the opinion Terraform Court, for example, the inquiry turns on what the issuer objectively invites investors to understand and not on the method of carrying out the transaction, nor does it turn the investor's knowledge that they are buying their asset from the issuer or in a particular determination that each investor saw all the information. Yeah, I think this is something that the vast majority of us need to be turning our attention to right now in the crypto space. It is so because the defendant's public campaign will presumably have reached the individuals who purchased their crypto assets on secondary markets and intended to motivate those purchases as much as it did institutional investors. So if we know the institutional investors were deemed as a security when they bought their XRP, they're saying the same marketing materials could have reached retail investors and directly influenced their purchases. Does everybody understand that? Does everybody understand that? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Because wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, we definitely got to talk about this because I'm not seeing people bring this up on TikTok. I'm not seeing people bring this up on Twitter. How many of us had seen content creators take the publishings from the Ripple report, because that was cited in the case? Hey, every month or every quarter, Ripple came out of a report that kind of basically gave the numbers and said, here's how we're doing, here's who's buying this. And yeah, that potentially could have excited other institutional investors, potentially to get them to FOMO in, right? Oh, well, if our competitors are doing it, we don't want to get left out. Yeah, let's get some of the XRP. And then you get a hold of that information. And because you see, quote unquote, Bank of America or American Express or insert MoneyGram or, whomever, you all know the usual suspects that were making those rounds in those videos from those years ago. And it prompted you to turn around and buy this XRP because you felt like you didn't want to miss out. If it was a violation of securities law for the institutional investors, they're saying here it would be a violation of securities law for the retail investors. And nobody's talking about that. These documents are not something that's readily available. I actually had to go to an attorney to get these pulled off. You can get them, but you've got to do like a membership, and then you got to wait a week for a token access code to be physically mailed out to you so that you can access this on certain legal websites. But I actually had an attorney grab these for me. So, yeah. This is... Yeah, I definitely did not see this last night when I was looking at it. And I mean, to me, it holds a lot of weight. It holds a lot of significant weight. So we're definitely going to reference this here tonight on the live stream. I just need to remember what page that's on. That's 13, 19 to 26. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to you all, the audience. If there's things that maybe you want to look at for the next 20 or so minutes, let me know. I'd be happy to pull it up. Charts, news, views and opinions on things, let me know. We can definitely cover that. But these are pretty much two of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about here. What was coming out of the SEC v. Ripple case, as well as what was coming out from Brics. So I'll stand by and I'll wait for those that comment or those comments from you all, the questions, whatever you all may have. I mean, that's major. That is absolute major. I just don't think that thing's as signed, sealed, delivered as most people will want you to think. Section 5 also expressly disallows unregistered offers to sell 50 USC 77 in constructing term offer. Courts have held that sellers cannot avoid liability by using broad means of disseminating information or engaging in personal transactions. These cases further reflect that justifiable jurists could reach a different conclusion other than the order's pragmatic sales holding. Seen Ripple in 295 countries. Funds cross-funding of value. What if the XRPL is the actual exchange fluidity and is an example of XRP is a car? Jermaine, unpack that a little bit further for me. I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. And therefore substantial ground for difference of opinion as to the pragmatic sales ruling, under which broad and personal offerings to sell do not establish liability. Specifically, courts have held that online marketing efforts like those Ripple engaged in, as noted in order, e.g. orders at 7, meet the broad definition of offer, including the context of marketing crypto assets. Because technology has opened new avenues for both investment solicitation, sellers can now reach global audience. Yeah, they can. Through podcasts. Yep. And Brad Garland House was definitely on podcasts, social media posts, or as here, online videos and web links. Seller cannot dodge liability through his choice of communication, especially when the Securities Act covers any means of communication. Somebody did their damn homework on this. Holy shit. We decline The adoption to interpretation that both contracts and text allow easy runs around the X. Wow. Let me go back here and read your question. Seen Ripple in 295 countries. Funds across funding as a value. What if the XRPL is the actual exchange of fluidity? And as an example, XRP is a car. I want to comment on that. I'm just not sure I understand your question. If XRP is the shell and the XRPL is the actual liquidity. I think, as I understand it, the XRP is the liquidity and the XRPL is just like the infrastructure in which everything transpires. And just kind of listening to what an executive at Ripple said as far as like on-demand liquidity goes, I think you had made mention to that. Or as far as liquidity for the XRPO goes, you don't even need XRP to engage or to utilize the XRPO. And if I need to find that article, I'll definitely do so. Open that one up. Open that one up. If XRP is a shell and XRPL is the actual liquidity. Yeah, I think I explained that correctly. The XRPL is essentially the infrastructure, and XRP would be the liquidity. So here we have it. This was a quote from the executive over at Ripple. Ripple built both its private ledger and CBDC platform on the XRPL ledger, and the private ledger is based on XRPL but does not require XRP to operate. Okay, so it's the opposite. XRP is the funds and it's increasing value. Then yes, it's a security. I mean, that's really the way that they've positioned it, right? Like you need, or XRP is allegedly going to be used for the liquidity. But if we look here, excuse me, and this was written earlier this year, a spokesperson for Ripple. See if I can find it. There it is. Does not require XRP to operate. So if I'm holding XRP and I'm looking at everything that we've just kind of outlined, I might be a little, I'd be a little upset because on one hand, we've got this judge that everybody thought was on quote unquote our side. She allows a way forward for this appeal to take place. Then the SEC, in a masterful move, goes back and starts to pull reference from all these previous cases that took place in the same district where tokens that were sold on exchanges were still to be found in violation of securities law. And then they go back and say, by the way, Judge Torres, if you say that institutions buying XRP, if Ripple violated securities law by selling to institutions, the same parameters in which the institutions bought XRP still trickled down and found their way to retail investors. So looking at this thing from 30,000 feet, I'm like, you're already making the connection. And in kind, you find these articles, this isn't anything new. Like we've talked about this, months ago. Like I said, this was written in May. This article was published in May. Probably talked about this middle of May, maybe early June. But now the narrative was, oh, well, you need XRP to run the XRPL, but now you have a spokesperson directly from Ripple who's coming out and saying Ripple built both its private ledger and CBDC platform on an XRPO, and this private ledger is based on the XRPO but does not require XRP to operate, a spokesperson told Blockworks in an email. So if I'm holding XRP, I've got some questions. I would need to know, how exactly does this play out? And I, from an investor standpoint, would need to take a look at my portfolio and say, if I'm wrong about this, what's the fallout? Where does it come back to me? And am I okay with that amount of risk? Because if I'm not, maybe I need to take a look at divesting some of my position. Maybe not holding as much. Obviously, the person who's holding XRP, they're the only ones that can answer that. So September 1st is the date that the Ripple company has to, I guess, provide a rebuttal to what the SEC has provided here. And we're definitely going to be paying attention to that. Bruce says that's true, Glenn. Again, just want to make sure I got it right, Just want to make sure I've got it right. But September 1st is the date that I believe Ripple has got to provide a rebuttal against what the SEC has presented. And I think potentially maybe they each get additional rebuttal after that. And then I believe the judge comes to the table to maybe rule her final ruling on this, if I can call it that. But I thought it was interesting. Again, a lot of people are like, well, Ripple, you can't go after the SEC's ruling when they said XRP isn't a security. I said, when I look online and I'm searching for news, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of articles, if any at all, from credible sources that share that same information. Ripple CTO clarifies on SEC appeal, highlights case complexity. SEC files motion to certify interlocutory appeal of Ripple ruling regulation. XRP looking to breach 60 cents and SEC stance in lawsuit questionable. SEC battle with Ripple over XRP could shape the crypto industry, Wall Street. You know what I mean? So there's not really a whole lot to go off of on this. So that's why I think it's important to read these briefs, to follow the people on Twitter who are writing these articles about, Brics, and who are writing these articles about what's coming out with this XRP, because this is going to be the best source of information that you have. You might find like one or two folks who want to report on this stuff from an objective standpoint and say, okay, hey, here's the information, here's how it's been reported, without putting their own spin on it. You're going to find a lot more that will just read headlines, negate the actual article, and just tell you what they want you to believe. Okay, now XRP, what kind of utility is that? If they're using XRPL as a financial transfer of funds, XRPL is a security. What is XRP? So XRP was touted to be what you need for on-demand liquidity. So to be able to transact value on the XRPL. And at some point in time, Ripple just came out and said, no, that's just not the case. Ripple, in a sense, started unloading. So here's what happened. Jeb McCaleb, Chris Larson, and Shorts, they got together, they started building the XRPL. They pre-minted, right? They came up with an arbitrary number of how many coins, the 50, 100 billion, however many Ripple coins there are, 100 billion. And they said that's a good number to go with. So they created the XRPL. They then in turn donated the XRP to Ripple that they would then go to work at, and gave themselves all executive positions. Y'all don't find that suspicious? I create the XRPL, I pre-mint the XRP, I turn around and donate it to a company that I'm going to go to work for and, create and give myself an executive position. And so every month when they would release XRP from escrow, they put that on the exchanges, made it available, and essentially dumped on the retail investors. And the money that they receive from the retail investors, they would utilize to fund their day-to-day operations at Ripple. So Ripple being able to have $200 million to fight a case with the SEC came from the people. Do I think it's a way to squash it all? I mean, I've always said that this is going to have ramifications for crypto no matter which way it shakes out. And I don't think it's going to be a blanket all approach, right? I think if XRP is truly determined to be not a security, I don't think that that gives a blanket not a security verdict to all other cryptos. I think they'll still have to have their day in court where they can prove through the legal process that they did not violate securities laws. By that same token, if Ripple loses and say they do go back and they say, okay, you know, we got that wrong, XRP after all is a security, I don't think that gives a huge blanket all, every single one of these alts is a security too. I think then the SEC has to call these projects into court, and it's up to them to litigate and explain how they are not a security. The problem with that lies the vast majority of them had ICOs, which would be in violation of securities law. So this is kind of what we mean when we say 99% of these are going to go the way of the dodo bird. It's going to go the way of the dodo bird. You might have a handful that can say, hey, we actually operated in coordinates with the law. We did not violate securities law in any way, and they'll be free to operate. But that is probably not going to be the story for the vast majority of alts that are out there. It's just probably not. So could it be a huge rug pull? I mean, that's one way to put it, right? I mean, what is a rug pull? A rug pull is when you have a project that's ongoing and then one day, you know, there's essentially no value that's behind it. Now, is it a rug pull because the founders of the project just didn't close up shop and it was really due to outside factors, say the SEC? You know, by the textbook definition, that wouldn't be technically a rug pull. But if the people over at Ripple knew exactly what they were doing and they still decide to act in a malice kind of way, and they knew that they were going to be dumping on you all, and, you know, it may not be a quote unquote rug. Yeah, I mean, it might be a slow rug. Might be a slow rug. Might be a slow rug. So again, these are the questions, and I think it's important that if people are pro XRP content creators, that they have these kind of discussions, because these are the discussions that matter. These have the ability to provide clarity for retail investors. They have the ability to further push discussions and potentially prevent people from making the same mistake twice down the line. So is the ISO 20022 standard safe? Again, I think you have to take it on a case-by-case basis, man. I really do. Because there's probably going to be some projects that went a different way in terms of how they were created and how they were disseminated versus how Ripple went and did it, or how Algorand went and did it, or how XLM had went and did it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think any of this is going to be a very blanketed approach across the board. I think it's going to be on a case-by-case basis, which is fine. I think these should be taken on a case-by-case basis. My main beef, if I can say that, is, again, just with content creators just promoting false narratives without actually doing the due diligence, doing what we're doing here. Hey, got these court documents. We're going to go through it line by line. It's not the sexy thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's not hype. It's not all that entertaining. But if you're talking about, hey, how do I potentially make a lot of money in a space that is still relatively new that could potentially have asymmetric upside potential, I don't mind doing the non-sexy thing because it's going to pay dividends on the back end. And there's a lot that just kind of want to do the hypey, sexy, flashy stuff up now, but on the back end, that doesn't really amount to a whole hell of a lot. It doesn't amount to a whole hell of a lot. So you've got to ask yourself, am I trying to get rich quick, or am I trying to get rich for sure? And here's what I mean by that. Say 99% of altcoins are securities and they are going to go the way of dinosaurs. Well, where do you think that money flows into next? It probably flows into Bitcoin because it probably either flows out of the market onto other traditional assets, real estate, gold, stock, silver, whatever the case may be, or it's probably going to flow into Bitcoin, creating a way for potentially hyper Bitcoinization. So me personally, I'm not interested in trying to get rich quick. I'm trying to get richer for certain. So I'll do the unsexy thing. Let me go back here. This document is 71 pages. And I don't know if any of you have ever gone over like briefs or motions or summaries. A lot of it is not written in plain English. It's very much so, if it pleases the king, that kind of language. So if you hear me stumbling over this stuff, it's because a lot of times it's not written in plain English. I wish it was, but it's not. So you got to go through 71 pages of document that is not written in plain English just to try to get down to the crux. Then you've got to be willing to step out of echo chambers and try to legitimately find what's really going on, because I don't want my money to go to zero. Like, a lot of us are single member venture capital firms. And what that means is if you're investing in 10 cryptocurrencies, you got to be okay with at least half of them shits going to zero, because you know at least 5 of them are going to boom. But I don't think you make those numbers if the information that you have to even begin your research is not rooted in fact. So that's what I say when I say, hey, a lot of people who are, they're not paying attention to the right thing, they're going to get absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And they won't have anyone to blame but themselves, because you had responsible content creators like myself, Crypto Never Sleeps, Crypto Chick, and the like, who would legitimately try to bring things to people's attention. And folks at every turn said, yeah, maybe we don't want that. We just kind of want the sexy stuff. We want the hypey stuff. So at least that's where I'm at with it. In the meantime, all the while, you've got to figure out, okay, well, does it do me any good to have money tied up in a dead asset like XRP was for a fair number of years? I heard someone say that Ripple had actually outperformed Bitcoin. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because when I look at Bitcoin's chart, I'm like, this. Let me look at Ripple's chart here. Let me look at XRP charts. Can I find it? Where are we at? Actually, no, I got to do this on a clean chart. Excuse me, y'all. I got all my doodles up. Let's do this on a clean chart. Let's do this on a clean chart. Let's do this on a clean chart. Give me XRP. Where's XRP? And I don't hate XRP. I don't want anybody to, get that. I'm just in search of the truth, y'all. I'm just in search of the truth. All right. Oh, wow. Y'all can't even see that. Hold on. Let me fix that. Let me fix it. Let me bring this over. There we go. And let me go to... No. Give me a side by side. Ah, damn it. I wanted that one on Bitcoin. Give me that one on XRP. Give me the weekly. Close that. Give me the weekly. Bring that down. Give me a second here, y'all. Let me get this situated. Just real quick, right? There. Need this one. There. So on the left, this chart right here is Bitcoin. And from 2015 to where it's at now, it's gone up 6,540%. And on the right here, we got XRP. And basically going back here to 2017, you've gone up 261%. So when I hear people like Crypto Maxi say, hey, XRP has actually outperformed Bitcoin, I'm like, bitch, where? I'm sorry. I mean, I know that wasn't very professional, but come on, where? Where? Can anybody in the chat tell me is 6,540% greater than 262%? Where? Where? Legal easy, Black Law's definition of this doc. That's weird looking at the timing having the same time as a volatility timeline. Yeah, oh man, 100%. We can definitely talk about that, Jermaine. You're not, you're not wrong about that. It all does kind of line up, even more so when you want to talk about the Fed, who said they're going to raise rates into 2024. So you're going to go into raising rates into 2024, and then by the time 2024 comes, you're either going to pause permanently or you're going to cut right in time for the halving. Jermaine says, even if it's being determined as a security, the rest of the world is still using it. Marcus, so listen, you're not wrong, right? If it is determined as a security, that potentially would not have any bearing on foreign markets, right? But I'm happy you said that. The question then becomes, so now that we've got this out the way, right? So from, you got 2015 to now, Bitcoin is outperform XRP. And the only reason why I'm using these two as an example is because Crypto Maxi on his live, this is what he said. He said XRP had actually outperformed Bitcoin. So I'm like, all right, well, let's take the Pepsi challenge. From inception to inception, from now to now, 6,540% to 262%. All right. Now that we got that out the way, let's come back over here to the rest of the world is using it argument, right? This is XRP. We're just going to stay on the weekly because it doesn't really matter. If you look at it, the daily, the monthly, the weekly, the hourly, right? You see this whole entire trend is just going downwards. If I actually move this up for a second, let me move this up for 2 seconds. We come over here and I'm going to do the same thing with my volume. If the rest of the world is using XRP, where's the volume? And I get that you can buy over the counter, right? But at some point in time, if the vast majority of foreign markets are utilizing XRP, you should see way more spikes in volume. Because at some point in time, you got to come get that crypto from the exchange. It's not there. It's not there. Now, I'm not saying this to FUD anyone's position. I'm just simply saying, guys, objectively, we have to look at this for what it is. Either they're not using it and you guys have been lied to, or they are using it and it's not going to provide the kind of ROI and the yield that most people think. Like, where's the volume? Where's the volume? Where's the volume? You say, well, here's a volume spike, here's a volume spike. Yeah, these are during the bull runs. So you mean to tell me the only time institutions are using XRP is in the bull run? So you're only going to get a pump, what, every 4 years? Come on, y'all. That dog doesn't hunt. Where is your volume? And I'm not trying to beat you up, Marcus. I'm just trying to, we have to look at things objectively. We got to look at it from what they are, not what we want them to be. So again, I pose that question to chat. Like, where's the volume? We got to really start asking ourselves, well, what happens if this case does not go the way that we think it's going to go? What happens to XRP then? What happens to my holdings then? Can you live with the potential outcome of that? Now, if you answer yes to that question, like, all right, there's I don't know really how much else we have to talk about. But if the answer to that question is, well, yeah, damn, I did kind of buy this XRP because I really had lofty expectations for it. And the reality of those expectations potentially not coming true, if that makes me feel some type of way, like, all right, I got to do something about that. Again, I don't want to see anybody get destroyed or obliterated. Again, my main concern is with the content creators. They have got to get to a point where they start reporting real information, not the information that they want to report. And it's been like that literally since 2018. I'm going to show you something. Because we're already here on YouTube, there's something I want to show you. If you go over here to my channel, and I want to say thanks to everybody who's already hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already done so already and you're finding value in this content, definitely hit the subscribe button. My goal is just to provide objective content like this for you on the regular. So we'll come over here and we'll scroll down. Where is it? If you want to see where I'm coming from with Ripple and XRP, watch this video right here. XRP, Sam I Am to the lifeboats, lying to the XRP community. Go back and watch that. That's a video I cut 4 going on 5 years ago. And some of the same, if not the majority of what's being said in this video is still relevant today. There is no reason why a video that I produced 4 years ago, that I made 4 years ago, should still be as relevant and accurate as it is today. XRP, Sam I Am to the lifeboats, lying to the XRP community. Sam I Am was probably at one point in time one of the biggest names in the XRP space, but he's not here right now. And you don't know why he's not here right now? Because Sam I Am ended up running afoul and doing the same thing. Oh, you guys can't see that. Wow, my bad. Sorry about that, y'all. Jesus Christ. Right here, Sam I Am to the lifeboats, lying to the XRP community. Watch that video. Watch that video. He made the mistake and he ran afoul by lying to the XRP community about the same things that some content creators are lying about today, which is the same thing that I've tried to warn people against. And I wasn't coming from an adversarial standpoint. I was simply saying that, hey, if you lie to your community, people are going to look at you as if you are not credible and they will stop listening to you, and you will have done extreme amounts of damage to your reputation. That's all I'm saying. But I encourage people, go back, watch that video. Sam I Am to the lifeboats, lying to the XRP. Matter of fact, why don't we just watch it together, huh? I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Can y'all hear that? Man, Bitcoin was $3,800. Maybe y'all can't hear that. Let me see this. Really kind of enjoyed their concept, but now it's kind of getting old. It's getting stale, and I think it's really making themselves look bad, making them, look uncredible, as well as just a little bit weird. If that audio's not coming across good enough, then again, I just kind of encourage you to go check that out. Just let me know in the chat. If it is, we'll keep letting play it. If not, you guys can watch it on your own. Just let me know. Do we trade it for BTC or X or anything XLM? Your XRP, I mean, if it's me and I'm looking at it, so let me tell you my story. At one point in time, I held over 240,000 XRP. Right around the same time that I made this video right here, I kind of had this like coming to Jesus moment or whatever you want to call it. It was a moment of clarity. I really just had to take a look at, took around at the landscape and just, what are the facts? What are people saying about it? Is there a possibility that I've got wrong information? Is this thing potentially going to not go the way that I think? And I arrived at the conclusion that I'm like, you know what? I think the vast majority of people in this community are making decisions based off of incorrect information and fables and hearsay and conjecture. It's not something I want to be a part of. I'm going to get out. XRP was, what is this, like 39 cents?
It's starting to look like weirdos.
So I got out right around the same time around
taking
the
a quick
lawsuit.
look here at the market. 126
came in.
billion, 76, 309, 682.
I decided to get out of XRP and put that into Ethereum, and that was right before Ethereum ran to like $4,800. So I caught it before it even cracked. I don't know, like I want to say before it got to like $1,000. I'd have to go back and check my exchange records. And it turned out to be probably one of the better trades I'd ever done. Smart, right? Because the lawsuit had kicked in for the next 2 or 3 years. XRP didn't really do anything. It was just kind of floundering. So for me, it just made sense. Hey, take the money out of XRP because I was a trader. It's not doing anything. And it made sense to put it into an asset that was going to be making moves. And for me, that was Ethereum, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, and a few others. So to answer your question, Stephen, take a look at the landscape, take a look at what's going around, and see if there's any projects that you would be comfortable putting more money into. If in fact your current position of XRP concerns you or gives you pause for concern based on what's going on with the SEC and what we've just gone over with the motion to file the interlocutory appeal, if they're able to make that case. Because if they are, it's not going to be good for anybody. All right.
Google just released a video and basically was saying that, hey, I found new information and all you have to do is go ahead and comb through various amounts of XRP wallets to try and connect the dots. And I'm
private. I see that you had
like,
made a comment or something, but I can't see it.
That's not going to do us any good to do it. And frankly, I don't need any busy work. What would be the point of combing through all these XRP wallets just to see the amount?
Guys hear that?
It's not going to tell us where the price of XRP is going. It's not going to tell us when XRP is going to do what it's supposed to do. It's not even going to help us obtain more XRP. I don't care. I don't care that they've got this amount going to this one.
You know what's crazy is we're going over this video, and then here's a video by Zach Rector, 10,000 XRP warning, $10,000 XRP warning. It's, again, some of the same stuff that we are talking about, and a lot of these content creators are going to meet the same fate as Sam I Am did.
Wallet, and that there's this amount that's in storage, and that there's this amount that's in escrow. I don't care. I will tell you what I do care about.
Spike is crazy.
Claiming
it's
Sam I
wild.
Am. And again, when I first started paying attention to Sam, I thought Sam's content was, it was very nice. I thought it was thought-provoking. And now it's just getting weird. Every time something does not go right with crypto that he claims he got the information from an insider, whether it be Bearable Guy or the Ripple Riddler, who I think are totally false. I mean, they're farces. They are complete jokes. Every time they make a prediction, they say, ta-ta, XRP community, I've done my job. May the odds forever be in your favor. And then something doesn't happen. They have to come back like, oh, yeah, well, what I meant was you guys maybe didn't look at this clue. So the more recent one to have this happen was Bearable Guy 123.
Is that not what we see now? Hey, we've got this date that's going to come out, and this was going to happen on that date. And when the date comes and goes and nothing happens, it's like they just gloss over it. Hey, well, look at this date over here. It's like, come on.
Apparently a few months ago, I don't know, the guy was thought to have been gone from Twitter, gone off of YouTube, just gone from the internet. And then people in the XRP community had just been getting fed up with a lot of things that he allegedly was supposed to be telling Sam. And shame on Sam for not knowing that this whole thing was a farce, or if he does know, he just doesn't care. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just not a huge fan of it anymore. Like, I'm calling BS on the whole entire situation. A Bearable Guy decides to come back, or Sam I Am states that Bearable Guy has came back, and now he's dropped even more clues to the Queen song, Don't Stop Me Now. No, like, dude, none of this matters. This is all BS. Him digital asset investor, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this is all BS. The XRP community is starting to get really weird. I mean, they're starting to turn on to the same "don't tread on me" folks, anti-government, anti-establishment, blah, blah, blah. Like, some of y'all need a hobby, man.
Stop me when I'm
like
lying.
This Bearable guy, he's been totally wrong. Sam I Am has been totally wrong on many different fronts. And again, he's beginning to make himself look completely uncredible. Do y'all remember back November 5th, everybody was going around the XRP community playing this video here?
V for Vendetta, XRP favorite.
Like, all these guys are this whole V for Vendetta. Like, it's just weird.
November the 4th.
Not anymore. Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot.
Yeah, whatever. So November 5th comes, and what do we get? A tiny, 4-6% bump on the day? That's not anything to write home about. Like, everything these guys have been telling you about XRP is totally false. It's wrong. It's been a fable. It's been sensationalized. This is nothing more than a pure marketing engine to get people to either hold the coin or to buy more of the coin. And if you want to do that, fine. That's your own prerogative. But these people should not be trying to put out this sensationalized information as if they're insiders and they've got tips that they've been given. November the 5th came, nothing happened. Small bump. Triple Witch came, nothing happened. The end of year is going to come. There's going to be no 589 end of the year price. Get that out of your head.
They were definitely talking about a 589 end of year price back in 2018, and it obviously never happened.
There's not going to be any 589, let alone $10, let alone 89 cents.
Keep in mind this video was made in 2018, so how long have we been talking about $10?
The thing you have got to keep in mind is you have to pay attention to the true factors that affect the market. XRP will not see any significant bump in price until SEC comes out with regulatory clarity on XRP.
This video was made in 2018. Come on, man.
The cryptocurrency market, as a lot of these coins mirror what Bitcoin does, and that's another reason why we need a Thanos snap to eliminate half of these coins, because 98% of them are worthless. So we need more of a purge to get rid of more of these coins that are worthless. The cryptocurrency market is not going to see a significant bump until one of a few things happens. The Mt. Gox situation comes and goes. And if you don't know what the Mt. Gox situation is, basically everyone that was, I guess they had cryptocurrency stolen from them, they're not going to get that back in a dollar form, but they're actually going to get it back in the cryptocurrency. And if Bitcoin is as low as it is now, then they're probably going to sell it. So you're going to have an influx of coins on the market. You also have Craig Wright, I believe, who has something like 1 million coins that are currently being held in escrow that he's going to release in about a year or two, if the articles I've been reading are correct.
That didn't happen.
Adding to the influx of Bitcoin that's going to be on the market. This isn't FUD, this is fact. And you've got to stop being so sensitive every time someone presents facts and say, oh, well, you're FUDing the market. No.
And we still hear that today.
We are presenting an overall complete picture as to the market, whereas the YouTubers that you watch only give you the steak versus the steak and potatoes. They want to paint this feel-good picture. Well, personally, I don't think the crypto market is going to be this feel-good story for a little while. I've just given you 2 instances where you're going to have a surplus of Bitcoins on the market. This thing is probably going to 1,000. Bitcoin.
I was wrong about that. Bitcoin did not go down to 1,000. It kind of went down to about 3K, about that.
Like Bitcoin, if that happens, the price goes down. You're going to see the price of a lot of altcoins go down. We're not going to see this bump in the market until that happens, and or until we find stability in the price of Bitcoin to even think about getting an ETF approved.
So, Jermaine, if XRP is a security, do we pay a fee Is that all? Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that. I'll just kind of give you a little bit now. So if it's deemed as a security, or if McCaleb and I'm sorry, not McCaleb, if Larson and Garlinghouse are found guilty, they're going to have to pay back the amount that they earned from selling XRP, which is a hefty amount.
Oh, and
I think they call it like restitution or something.
until the Bitcoin halving happens again, which I believe that's on track to handle 2020 or 2021.
Nailed that.
Look at the last few times Bitcoin has had its run-ups. It's normally happened after the Bitcoin halving, or when the reward was cut in half. That's not on track to happen for a little while. So you keep paying attention to these YouTubers that want to paint these feel-good stories like Sam I Am and Digital Asset Investor. Digital Asset Investor, that's another one. This guy drops videos on XRP every day as if there's that damn much information to be putting out. Because truth be told, there's not. You listen to some of these YouTubers, they want you to believe that the IMF is going to be using XRP and that the World Bank is going to be using XRP. You can't even name 15 members, 15 people who help run the IMF and or the World Bank. But we're
Now, keep in mind, again, this video came out in 2018, and we're still waiting on some of those same things. Some of those same narratives are still being perpetuated today.
supposed to believe that people will just have this secret information that XRP is going to be used by the IMF and the World Bank. Like, come on, man. Grow up. And that's not, I mean, again, when I first started paying attention to these guys, you know, I said a lot of that, you know, it's just entertaining content. And if you're putting out entertaining content for the sake of putting out entertaining content, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you listen to these guys, they say it's just for entertainment, but they really believe what it is that they're saying. That's why you've got to get a very balanced slice of the pie here. I mean, I do like guys, for the most part, like DM Logic, who, you know, they tend to approach things from a very pragmatic standpoint to say, I don't think 589 is going to happen at the end of the year. And you listen to some of these other guys, they're like, it's absolutely going to happen. Ripple's going to be $10,000 at the end of next year. And it's like, yo, honestly, like
$10,000. Wait a minute. Video by Zach Rector, 10,000 XRP warning. His video was put out 2 days ago. This video was put out 4 years ago. Same narratives, same false narratives still being perpetuated today. It's a shame.
you need to put that bottle down, whatever it is that you're drinking. Because, I mean, these are not logical things. And I'm not even talking about from the market cap, because you could have all the catalysts I just named but a moment ago happen, and the market takes off, and then, you know, the market cap doesn't mean anything because now you have tens of trillions of dollars that are beginning to pour in. But to say it's going to be 589 without any significant, or to say it's going to be $50 at the end of the year, like, these things are not going to happen. You'd be better poised betting on XRP being 45 cents at the end of the year. You guys have got to be careful as to where you are getting your information from. And these guys that are putting out these sensationalized videos, shame on y'all, man. I know not all of you monetize your channels, but those of you that do and put out these sensationalized videos, like, it's disgusting. You need help. You need help. Because when I listen to how XRP positions their coin.
Keep in mind real quick that even back before this in 2017, XRP was actually called Ripple. And then they changed it to XRP once all hell started breaking loose with the SEC, I believe.
Versus how the XRP community positions the coin, you get two totally different, what feels like two totally different projects. The way Ripple poises their company, it's, we are a technology company that helps banks with cross-border payments and helps source liquidity for payment providers. Versus the XRP community that is saying, Ripple is going to be used for this. It's going to be used for that. It's going to be used by Temenos and SAP. And oh my gosh, it's going to be in retail payments. It's going to be in banking payments. The IMF's going to use it. This coin is going to be worth $10 trillion in a year's time. And it's like, it's so sensationalized. It's so blown out of the water, so blown out of proportion. The XRP community, some members of the XRP community, let me be clear, they're going so far away from where Ripple has positioned themselves and what Ripple has said about the project, to the point where, like I said again, you start to look at these two and it feels like two totally different projects.
Jermaine, I nailed it.
Enough is enough. Bearable Guy is BS. The Ripple Riddler is BS. You understand, someone had to draw these people up. They had to put them in position, then animate them, and then give them the story behind it. And then some YouTuber picks it up and they think that they've got the inside track because they believe that they're talking to somebody who's on the inside. It's a farce. These people have been wrong. They've been wrong before, and they will be wrong again. You are being lied to. And if these people who are reporting these stories know that these things aren't real and they're still reporting them to you, like, shame on them. They should do better. XRP, if we are not careful, if the XRP community is not careful, it is slowly going to begin to rival members of the Tron community.
Oh, God.
All hype, no action. And why XRP does have clients, if you look at who they have signed up, it's not anyone significant. It's small banks. They've got a number of them, but they're small banks. And we don't even know if they're really using it in the official capacity, even more so because the SEC has not given that regulatory clarity that XRP needs in order to really start taking a step forward in the right direction. That's all I wanted to say. Like I said, it's not going to be a very positive video, but a lot of times the truth is like poverty. Everybody hates it. Few people understand it. And you can interswap poverty with poetry. Because a lot of people hate poetry too. Nobody wants to hear it, and few people understand it. I'm done.
So again, that video was published 4 years ago on December 3rd, 2018. Now, you tell me how it's possible for something that was said in 2018 is still extremely accurate and relevant today. Do you think that as time goes on and content creators take the same pathway as content creators did back then, do you think things are going to change, or do you think they're going to stay more the same? Because if I had to guess, I'd say it's more the same. Again, feel free to like the coins that you like and spend your money on whatever you want to spend money on. It's your money. But if and when this does not go the way that people have promised you, like, you don't get to say no one ever told me. All right. It's 6:54. Excuse me. We're on the way on 7 o'clock here. I'm going to hang around for a couple minutes longer, take any last minute questions that you guys have. Then we're going to break. I'll probably be back on later this evening. TikTok around 9:30, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys want to do TA, we'll do that. You want to learn more about certain projects that you're looking at, we'll do that too. Today is for y'all, man. You know, today is really for y'all. I just kind of wanted to come by, share my findings, because I think these are going to be very, very important things that people are going to need to make, decisions based off. Granted, it's just day one. Brics Summit is still going to go for another day and a half to the 24th. Members of South Africa are already saying that we do not have on the agenda to make an announcement about creating a currency, releasing a currency. So all of the information that people who have been telling you on TikTok at the Brics Nation, they're going to come out with this currency and they're going to release it, like, they're wrong. I will tell you this. If you are even remotely interested in something like that, please be aware that there are very smart people out there. They know that people are paying attention. They know that people are looking for something like this. They will create a coin. It's more than likely going to be on Binance Smart Chain. probably could even be on ETH, right? But it's more than likely going to be on Binance Smart Chain, and they will be looking to scam you. They will create this Brics currency because they know, like, again, people have been waiting for this, and if they hear it, they're going to run with it. You're going to buy into it, and you're going to lose your money. South African officials from Brics have said we have no intentions on making any statements regarding any currencies that are going to be released at this summit. So be mindful of that. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I'm here. We're going to go till about 7 o'clock. Maybe take a look at some things here, and then we're going to wrap, and I'll be back on later this evening. This live stream, not bad. I do like the format. There were a couple things that I think we could have got a little bit better just in terms of how things were presented. But, that's on me. I'll definitely be sure to be better the next time around. But, yeah, appreciate you guys for hanging out, for listening, providing your commentary on some things. Jermaine, Spike Dodgeball, Steven, Marcus, Bruce, Frankie, Junie, my homegirl Ashton, always good to see you, and Brian, Marvin, and Tito's. Just kind of taking a look at the folks that were in here. And again, I wanted to do this here on YouTube because YouTube's going to give me a little bit more leeway just to be candid with you all. I've said this before. As we go on to the bull run, as we get closer to this halving, the content is going to get more intense. It's going to get more intense. Jermaine says, I was wondering if you can see this. There are two what? Private, I see you. Jermaine, you were saying that there were two. If I can see it, there are two. There are two what? What you got? What you got? What you got? While we're actually talking about this, we were doing some, leave that. We were doing some quick TA on XRP a little while back. That's Bitcoin. That is not XRP. Oh, there we go. All right. And we had made it a point to mention that, hey, we had obviously fallen out of this channel. Again, if you guys were on with us on Lens Live, myself, Stock Coach Amir, we were saying that you don't want to lose the 60 cent line. We lost it, came back that following night, did some TA and said, hey, once we broke out, we kind of fell below to, 42. And I said, you're facing some upward sloping resistance. And I don't think there's much in the cryptocurrency space right now that can kind of contend what you're seeing right here. So don't be surprised if we go to retest this support and then we fall again. And that's exactly what happened. So if anybody's telling you that TA doesn't work, it works. It's paying me dividends, and they're just mad because they can't do it. What I would be on the lookout for here is this potential. I mean, this isn't really a double bottom, so I really wouldn't even call it that. The price right now is currently above the point of control, which is good. Probably going to try to make a push to this next level of resistance at 52. You've kind of been getting rejected off of that today and yesterday, so we'll see what happens next time we try to push up on it. Keep in mind that if you keep testing resistance and you keep bouncing off of it, you're more liable to fall to the downside. Same thing with support. The more you touch support and you don't push off of it, you're more liable to break to the downside. All right. As far as where markets are at right now, can I reload this? Okay, I'll reload it. This is a chart of USDC. Nope, that's Bitcoin. This is USDC. And essentially what we're seeing here is this is all the USDC that at one point in time was in the market. And now taking a look at this, we see that, God damn, man, we've lost like half. Am I looking at that right? 56 bill. Because I gotta keep me honest. Yeah, man, we've lost half. My God, we were at, from June of last year to where we're at now, we've lost over $25 billion out of the crypto markets. If I'm reading this correctly, we've lost 53% of the USDC that was in the markets. So again, what this chart represents a liquidity that is coming out of the markets. Any of you that use TradingView, this is probably a beneficial chart to have. Jermaine says, "Oops, 295 countries. I wonder what Ripple is telling its customers." Bruce says, "No, explain, please." Bruce, sure. What do you need me to explain? I'll be happy to. 295 countries. I wonder what Ripple is telling its customers. I mean, they're probably telling like, hey, we can do your cross-border remittance payments on our blockchain, yada, yada, yada. But again, there's a vast difference between a G20 nation and a G7 nation. There's a vast difference between nations that don't even have a G ranking and G20 nations. This is like Pop Warner to Division I collegiate football to the NFL. If you're telling me that, hey, pick or choose what clients you want, I'm going to say I want the ones that are in the NFL. Because of smaller nations, and I know this sounds bad, but they're not really going to move the needle a whole lot. You're not going to get the kind of price appreciation that you're looking for out of the smaller nations. So I know what they're saying. Well, we got banks and banks are using this. Okay. Yeah, you might have banks, but is it like Taiwanese One Republic or is it Wells Fargo? Is it Bank of America? Is it Chase? Where they're actively utilizing XRP? Yeah, but I was looking at 295 countries with very smart people. Like which countries? Like which countries? Because again, it's one thing, just some of my TA here. Let me go to a clean chart again. If you can see this and show me, they can see it as well. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it, right? So that's you all. That's you all. So there's your comments right there. So again, that's just what I was making mention to when we talked about XRP. It's like if it's being used by other countries and banks, it's like where's the volume? Because I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. All right. Jermaine, let me know if that's answering your question or if I did answer your question. Or Jeremy, I'm sorry, I don't know why I kept calling you Jermaine. My apologies. Where is the volume? I imagine. Mark says that makes sense. Okay, cool. I don't know if I already left that conversation. Okay, maybe I'm just a little late on the chat. My mistake. Yeah, I imagine, ideally what this should look like is, volumes coming in and, you got volume spikes like this on a regular. To me, that would be more like, hey, man, there's some activity going there. But this, like, that ain't it. That ain't it. All right. It's 7. I'm going to jump off here for a little while. I got some stuff I need to do. Need to take a look at these charts, see if I want to place any trades before tonight. Again, I'll be back on probably TikTok. Did you all like the YouTube format? Would you rather do TikTok? Do you like YouTube? I like YouTube because, again, I feel like I can be a bit more candid with you all without having to worry about strikes and getting lives taken down. I feel like TikTok is very touchy. And I like that I can be a little bit more candid with you all on YouTube. Like, I just don't know what the fate of that account on TikTok is going to be if I end up getting another strike on it or getting another live taken down. So TikTok, I definitely get more interaction, but again, we just might have to do more work funneling people over. My guy, Techno Wolf. Ow! we might just have to do a better job of funneling people over to YouTube. Because again, you guys can see my screen, and I can throw another camera up here where, like, if you guys really want to see my handsome face, and you can do that, you know, I can make that happen. But again, in terms of like being able to see my screens, I feel like on YouTube, doing it this way, you guys are able to see that. So if that obviously provides you all with value, then we'll keep doing that. If maybe we have to try to do it a dual stream, then we'll do that too. But yeah, if possible, I'm definitely going to try to funnel more people over to YouTube, because again, it allows me to be a bit more candid with you all. Okay. So that's all I got for right now. Gonna take a look at some stuff here. Junior, you are more than welcome. If you found value in that, you know, I'm ecstatic about that. I'm happy about that. Again, we've got some things that we'll go over here tonight. This is fine. Okay, cool. YouTube it is then. YouTube it is. We'll let things over on TikTok kind of cool down for a little bit. But thank you to everybody for hanging out, for going over this information with me, for adding, you know, your 2 Satoshis to the conversation. It's always appreciative. And again, man, audit the content, keep me honest. You know, if I get something wrong, hold me to it. You know, hold me to it. The only way all of us are going to get to the mountaintop is if we're trying to get there together. All right. So I will see y'all later tonight. I appreciate y'all for being here. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with me, and I appreciate it. I'll see y'all. Thanks.